ahead.
Our mission, Helping Parents Heal, is a nonprofit organization dedicated to assisting bereaved parents. Through support and resources offered, we aspire to help individuals become shining light parents, meaning a shift from a state of emotional heaviness to one of hopefulness and greater peace of mind. Helping Parents Heal goes a step beyond other groups by allowing the open discussion of spiritual experiences and afterlife evidence in a non dogmatic way. Helping Parents Heal affiliate groups welcome everyone, regardless of religious or non religious background, and encourage open dialogue. Attendance at all Helping Parents Heal meetings is voluntary. All discussions that take place at affiliate led meetings are confidential. We hope that participants will learn from and share with each other. Zoom meetings run by leadership are not confidential. These meetings typically feature guest presenters and are posted on YouTube so that affiliate members worldwide can watch and benefit. Neither type of Helping Parents Heal meeting is designed to replace traditional therapy or spiritual counseling. Helping Parents Heal offers a wide variety of speakers, allowing parents to learn about many possible ways to heal. This includes presenters covering progressive topics such as afterlife evidence and connecting with our children who have passed. The views expressed by our guest speakers may or may not reflect the opinions of Helping Parents Heal leaders and members, so we ask that you take from their presentations whatever may benefit you personally. Welcome, everyone. We're so glad you're here with us this evening, and welcome, Daniel John. Thank you for being here.
Yes, we're thrilled that Daniel John is here with us this evening. He is so amazing. You guys will all love spending time with him. But first, I'll just tell you a little bit about his history. In January of 2017, while out to dinner in Boston for a business trip, Daniel sat next to a new coworker, and their lives would change forever. As they started to get to know each other, Daniel started getting visions, pictures, and feelings that he did not completely understand. He had had this happen before, but when it did, he would just deliver the message and didn't think much of it. But this time it was different. It was much more intense and powerful. After about 45 minutes and many tears, they had no doubt that somehow his aisle-mate's deceased husband was with them in spirit. The messages her husband was relaying to her were spot on, things that Daniel could never have known about her and her family, and confirmed that he was very much still a part of her life, even though he passed away. Some of his messages were funny, yet some were more serious, but they were healing to her, and that made her feel so good. The messages were of pure love for her and her children. It was awesome. Even after this, being a skeptic, Daniel did not believe that it could be possible to speak to people who have passed away. Maybe he'd gotten lucky and guessed all of those things. After all, it definitely was against everything he was ever taught. Growing up Catholic and then becoming born again Christian in high school, people did not communicate with the dead. It was strictly forbidden. Daniel is taught in his Catholic elementary school that no one could even talk to God unless it was through a priest. Not only that, he thought that when we die, we go to heaven or hell, and that was it. After that night, he was on a journey to find out what this life is really about, regardless of everything he was being taught. This is exactly what he asks of you. Be skeptical, but be open-minded. You can check out Daniel John's new book, Why Are We Here, on Amazon, and find out more about Daniel on his website, www.danieljohnmedium.com. And without further ado, please join me in welcoming wonderful Daniel John. Welcome, Daniel.
Thank you for having me. We're all wonderful. It's weird when you hear that bio because the journey within that 7 years is just so much more than that, but it really just kind of condenses it. And then I did write Why Are We Here, which is the first book, and then I released Journey Through Many Mansions in the fall of 2022. They're both available on Kindle for free, Audible for your credit, and 1111 on Amazon if you want the hard copy. So thank you for having me. I'm very blessed to be here, for lack of a better word. And what I like to start out with these groups is opening the floor to questions. Before we do that, I like to kind of explain how like the gift works. First of all, we all have gifts. We all have spiritual gifts, and certain people are meant to do certain things. But I tell people, psychic is nothing more than able to get information without your five senses, right? It's ESP. It's getting information without any scientific explanation. We are all technically psychic because it's naturally who we are. So don't ever fear that word. I always will say, you know, test the spirit. But a true energy or light worker will have nothing but pure intentions. And when those intentions are pure, light can be shown. And it's really amazing. The other thing is, don't get scared with the word medium. The word medium by definition is just the halfway between two extremes. It is the in between. A medium could be a TV or a magazine. It's just the means in which information is communicated. So don't get scared by the word. People, it doesn't mean to talk to the dead. I think we all talk to the dead, right? We all talk to our loved ones in spirit. We say prayers to them when we talk to them. The unique thing about where I've come to is I've come to understand how they communicate back. And part of my role in this environment, for lack of a better word, is to help you understand, pay attention, and trust the subtle signs and impressions that your loved ones who have passed, in this case children, continuously send us. You just have to be open to it and trust it and believe it. I would be shocked if even one person in here didn't say, yeah, I think they sent me this, or I thought they did, all the way to I know that that was them, or I had a dream that was so real I knew for a fact that it was them. So, and anywhere in between. I always tell people I'm no different than you. I think this is a purpose of mine. It was definitely not something I was interested in up until at 37 when this whole thing happened, and then I became obsessed with it. And the reason I did was because I figured out pretty quickly that this was part of my purpose. Since then, I've done over 3,000 individual sessions, whether that be in group or on Zooms or on Facebook or whatever, or TikTok, you name it. And so someone just asked, what is ESP? ESP is extrasensory perception. It's a sixth sense, an extrasensory. That is psychic ability. We all have it. Everyone has an extrasensory perception. I always say, we're taught that we have five senses. We really have six. There's a sixth sense that we all have that you can tap into. And I always tell people the way to tap into it is by doing good things, praying to, like again, dogmatically or not, doing good things for other people, eating good foods, exercising, smiling, not watching the news, not focusing on vices. And like I had in the 7 years, I've quit gambling, I've quit watching pornography, I've quit drinking alcohol, caffeine, you name it, I've quit it, but only because I was instructed to, and from someone in the non-physical, I could say a God or spirit. And what that has allowed me to do is raise my physical vibration to allow spirit, people in the or energies or soul in the non-physical to communicate to me. They can do that through you too. You don't need a medium. In fact, and I'll repeat it real quick. My job is not only to bring your loved ones through, but to kind of teach you and help you understand how they communicate, because it's very different than you and I communicate. And to put it simply, before we open to questions, I get impressions, I get groups of letters, I get sounds, symbols, I get scripture, I get songs. It's years, dates, you name it, and you'll see it. And they often mean 1, 2, 3, up to 5 or 6 things just with one little impression. It's the craziest thing. So instead of giving examples, I think it's cool in this type of environment to sit back and watch, pay attention. Even if it's not a loved one for you specifically, watch the healing. I think there's a little bit of skepticism in all of us, but when you watch some of these things happen, you can't help but believe or hope or understand or admit that there's a possibility that there is something more, and that we don't die. We just change form, and our loved ones are very much with us all the time. So sit back, watch it, enjoy it, trust it. I don't say this for any other reason than fact is I volunteer these, and I volunteer a session, and I only charge $1 for my sessions with a donation to a charity, because I don't do this for money. I do it to help people. And that's not, oh, thank you, Daniel, you're so awesome, because I don't want that. All credit for everything I do goes to something bigger than me. You can call it God, universe, source, your loved ones, the Holy Spirit. But why I do this is to help. I really enjoy helping people. and then, I just gave my kids a bath. I'm not putting them to bed tonight so I can spend time with you all, because that's where my passion is. Of course, I'm passionate are my children, but I also know there's a need for this type of healing work in this world, and I'm ready, willing to, and able to do it so that I can be a help to other people. And that is my passion. That is my purpose. Take it or leave it. So that's a little bit about who I am. I'll open the floor up to questions, and usually when someone asks a question, I'll start to get some information and we'll go from there. But you can ask me anything you'd like. And
So
yes, I'm married.
he is. He's got a gorgeous wife and gorgeous children as well.
Yes.
So Christy is asking, how does one reconcile religion, Christianity with this new possible belief and not something that is not of God?
So I always say there's so much ambiguity in that question, because what is God? What is your religion? Is it Christianity? We're using the Old Testament, the New Testament. I go through this in both of my books, so I'm going to do the short version. I also did a 20-minute YouTube on this video as well. Anything that comes from love is God. 1 John 4:8 says God is love. So when I define God, which you cannot do, if you ask 100 people what God is, you'll have 100 definitions, and they're all right in their own path. So my definition of God is love and love itself. So if I'm a medium who's doing mediumship for a ton of money, and I'm just screwing people over and making up facts and just trying to just trying to fool people, that would be demonic. That would be evil. That would be bad. That would be not good. But if there's someone who has a spiritual gift, and they're doing it to help others, and they're genuinely a gift from something more, and they give that glory to that something more, I would say that is God and God itself. I've given upwards of 3,000 plus sessions. In 6 years, I've never had an evil spirit, anything demonic, anything bad. Every single session, literally 99.99, has been healing, helpful, increased faith, brought people closer to God. I can't tell you, and I don't post these things because I've lost my ego. I know it sounds weird, but I don't think I'm different than anyone else in this world. I think we are one. I think God is one. We are all this one little spark of the divine. And so when I have these messages from people, and I've received a ton of them, that credit doesn't go to me. If I took credit for that, that would be not demonic, but that would be not really the best. But to give that glory to something more than I can even believe or understand, I think that's God and God itself, and I think that's love. When it comes to scripture, I'm not going to go through verses. I know what it says in Deuteronomy and Leviticus and Kings. I've read the Bible back and forth, and I'm not an expert by any means, but I tell people Paul was a medium. And for those, to answer this specific question, I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole, but I'll talk quickly on it because it is something to consider. According in Acts, Paul goes to Damascus. He gets blinded. He has kind of a near-death experience, if you want to call it. Some people, fundamentalists, don't like calling it that, but he sees a light, and Jesus comes to him and says all these things. He then goes to Ananias in Acts 9 and gets Reiki. He gets healing of the hands where scales fell off his eyes, and he put his hands on him, what people will now call Reiki, and some fundamentalists call it demonic. All these mediumship abilities and gifts are throughout Scripture. If you really look at it, Corinthians 12 talks about the gifts of the Spirit, but it all comes down to intention. If your intention is of love and pure and genuine, you genuinely want to help someone, and no matter what it is, if you're a doctor and you're doing it to help patients and you make a decent salary, but you volunteer some time and you take extra care with your patients, that would be godly. If you committed insurance fraud and you were only in it for the money and you didn't give a care about your patients, I would think that would be what you would call demonic. Matthew 6 talks about doing things for love and doing it for the right reasons. And even if you look through a lot of Paul's Gospels, he talks about that. So Paul's story, if you tell about someone had a friend and they had a near-death experience, and then they got Reiki, and they went blind and they got Reiki, and then they started saying, Jesus is telling me all these things. And in Galatians 1:11, it literally says, I'm not getting this from man or anyone else. I'm getting it from the Spirit of Christ. If someone told you that today, you would think most fundamentalist Christians would call it demonic, but that's what the Bible is. It's a book of mediumship. Paul was a medium, an in-between between the non-physical or God or love or the non-physical entity and humans. Jesus was a medium. He was a voice of this thing we call God. So, and again, in Corinthians 12, so I take all those things and I say, you know what? There's something more. I give glory and credit to it. And if what I'm doing or any of you are doing is from a pure intention of love, that is God. That is literally defined in 1 John 4 that God is love. So that is a very short, and I've covered this in 2 chapters in both of my books to explain that this gift that everybody has is beautiful. Paul's writings, which are half of the New Testament, were inspired from God or from the Holy Spirit or from the non-physical. It even says it again in Galatians 1:11. So the Bible is a book of mediumship. So take that, trust it, and believe there is something more, and give credit and glory to that. So, and then the last thing is to, and you see it in Luke 17:21, the kingdom of God is within you. Romans 5:5, God has poured his self into your heart. God is within you. It's not something that's outside of you. We have this picture of God that's been painted to us by religion, that he's this, or she, or he, more so he, and I think it's a she, he, she, everything is beyond you, and it's further. It says it throughout scripture. God is within you, and it's love itself. And when you find that love and plug into it, Christians call it Christ, Buddhists call it nirvana, spiritualists call it the chakras or awakening. It's all the same stuff. All these spiritual teachers, Jesus, Buddha, Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Mother Teresa, you name it, they're all teaching love. It's inclusivity. It's just that sometimes man or women, no offense, humans turn this into a story. And you even see in John 14:12, Jesus says, be like me, do the things I could do. You could do what I do and more. I'm heading home to be with God. Just let me show you the way. And so I think it's a mistranslation of some of these things. I've watched the new movie 1946, and I've looked at different versions of the Bible. I've read scriptures about mediumship in the Bible. There's tons of books on them, and they've all brought me to the conclusion that it all comes down, whatever you do, whether it's mediumship or anything, it all comes down to intention. Because you could have two mediums who are doing the work, and one is doing it for the wrong reasons. I would consider that quote unquote demonic. But if the other one's really has a gift from God, like Paul did, and was able to share inspiration from the non-physical, that is a blessing. So sorry for the long, short answer, but that's my
Perfect. And
Yeah.
I goosebumps the whole time that you're talking, and thank you so much for taking the time to do that. I think that a lot of people have been saying that. Thank you as well. Lots of people are very excited about what you're saying. But Nancy has one last question. How do you feel your own gift has evolved over the last several years? Do you feel that it has?
That's a great question. I've realized when I got rid of the ego and the separateness, ego is edging God out. But when I realized, like John, like now again, since we're on the scripture, right, in John 10:30, Yeshua says, I and the Father are one. And then he says, and then they question him, and he says, didn't I say that we are God? And so I've realized that I'm just like you are, part of this infinite, beautiful thing we call God. And when you plug into that, beautiful things can happen. So early on in my mediumship, I was I'm awesome. I'm better than, and I wasn't never this bad, but it was more, I'm awesome. I'm going to share it to get attention. I'm going to show how awesome I am. And I'd say in the last 12 to 18 months, I've completely lost that. I try not to post too many sessions unless my intent is, hey, listen, this stuff is real. It's beautiful. If this helps you, this is my intention. I don't care about likes or loves or shares or comments, or I don't care if there's 40 people on here and all beautiful or 1,000. I've realized that my mediumship or my connection to the non-physical and or the divine has been increasingly accurate and helpful when I realize that I'm not special. And I don't mean that in a mean way. I'm special just like you are special, but I'm not any more special than any other medium or anyone else. And when I give that glory and credit to what I call God, it allows him to work through me without a filter, and the filter of the ego. So my evolution of mediumship, by disassociating myself from the message and allowing for it to come through, it has allowed it to be more pure and more of God. And I've noticed it when I fast, when I stay away from all these things I told you I had to quit, it becomes more pure, and it becomes more loving and godly is the best way I can explain it.
I love that. That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Daniel. And so maybe we could get started. I know everyone's very excited about the readings. So did that lead into someone for you, or are you ready to get started?
Yeah, I got some stuff, but nothing crazy. So the way this kind of works is I get impressions, numbers, feelings, sounds, songs, descriptions. So what I do is I share a few of them. And again, if I'm stuck on someone, not stuck on someone, but with someone, and you feel like this is for you, it could be for you too. I know it sounds like almost like a cop out, or it's illogical. If I'm with you, I'm not with anyone else. But what'll happen in a group like this is your people team up. The best way I can put it in human terms is your loved ones team up on the other side and kind of pass messages to multiple people. So for instance, if I get a a symbol in I get symbols. When I see raisins, I have to talk about California, but sometimes it's California raisins, sometimes it's raisins, sometimes it's prunes. But if there's 4 people that are resonating with the 4 different pieces of information, and one takes raisins, one takes prunes, one takes California, and one takes Raisin Bran, then they'll all apply. And I know it sounds kind of weird, but what'll happen is they group up to give me symbols that apply to multiple people. So even if I focus on one person and you think it's your person coming through, it's not that it's not for them. It's for you too. Just embrace it and trust it. You don't have to be the one exchanging the information. Just take it and enjoy it. Thank you. So thank you. So, okay. So now, so when I say that, they're giving me impressions. I know it seems so weird, and it is weird, but someone, and I'll walk through this and I'll give it to you, as they give it to me. I do feel a male, and they're talking about basketball, and they're funny to me, and they talk about the number 15. And I'm not really good with the male female thing, but I think it's male. It's something I'm not right. I could nail the name, but the male female just, and I'm not going to look at the comments because that can throw me off. So maybe just hold off on the comments, if you think it's for you. But yeah, and then basketball 15, they're making me feel like it was a faster passing. They are talking about ducks, so you either had something about Donald Duck or there's ducks on the property. And they do show me a little sister, there's a little girl left behind, so it could be their daughter or little sister, but he's making me feel like she's a lot shorter or smaller or younger than him. He is talking about his teeth. I don't know if he had ortho and then didn't, and then did and then didn't, or there was an issue with the teeth with the accident. And there's and they don't usually say this to make me feel it, but there's a desperate cry to let you know he's okay. And that makes me feel like the person either has not had a session before, or they're really just wanting to know that he's okay, and or both. And then I do get the A name, like Amber. And they're showing me a hammer, which there's I have a few different symbols for that, and this will be the last thing. But there's usually is something, it has a few different things. Either they were in construction, or it could be MC Hammer, or they use a hammer, you found their hammer, or maybe you just used one today. Now, as you know, when you have a group of like 40 people, there are a few people that are going to resonate with a few. I really would like in a group like this for you to get most of them. You get the basketball, you get the 15. Now 15 could be January 5th. It could be the 15th. It could be the 15th of the month. It could be 2015, or someone who's 15 years old, or maybe they passed 15 years ago, but it would be one of those. It's not 14. It's not 16. They're also moving their hair to the side. So either they had a comb over or whatever, but everything behind what they're telling me is that she needs to, or he or she needs to know that I'm okay. And that's their main question. And so, you guys can look through the chat, and then what'll happen is I'll kind of get a feel of who it's for, and then we'll just bring them through. There is a car issue too. So I don't know if he passed in a car, or you have his car, or you just did something with his car. And to me, he's making me feel like, oh, so either someone maybe just sold the car, or someone just bought a car, but I would feel like it'd be more towards someone selling. And by the way, last thing, as we go through this process, if this is not for you, watch the process. It's crazy. It's amazing. And we're all capable of it. What blocks it from us individually is often grief and some of these other vices that we have to put aside to raise our vibration. But that's why we do this work. So watch
Hey,
the
we got somebody. Sounds like Kimberly. She says, my son was in construction. I had ducks in the neighborhood. His younger sister is Amara. He had long hair. And then she said, my son passed in his car, and it was a fast passing. What do you think?
AM, do another, does she connect with, no, go to another one. Sorry, so what'll happen, it sounds spot on, but I have to go with my feeling. I want to see if anyone else connects with this.
Okay. So
If you could type it in the chat, if you
And
can take.
it may very well be her. I just, I usually get a little bit of a different feeling, but it's sometimes it's different when it's not a private session or whatever. So AM, she got the AM construction. You said passed in the car. He passed in the car.
he passed in the car. It was a fast passing, and his younger sister is Amara.
AM. Okay. And then what about basketball? Sorry to interrupt.
Basketball, I don't see, Kimberly, could you say something about basketball? Because we do have Jeff and Nan who are, he played
And
basketball.
Kim, can you please, Kim has her hand raised. Kim, can you please type in the chat?
So
Thank
I
you.
guess that Kimberly's son played basketball as well. Jeff and Nan are saying a son, an A name, passed on the 15th. He has a younger sister and played basketball.
Yeah, I tried to type in. I don't know if you could see mine as well, Kim.
I
So-
don't mean to be more, I'm sorry to interrupt. And by the way, as a human to human, I normally don't interrupt, but when I do this work, it's sorry. I have to kind of like take the floor. I apologize. And I don't mind in between. They're making me feel like it's for the one who just did something. And I'm so sorry to say this, but I think you wouldn't be shocked that he's saying this, that you just did something with the ashes, like recently, like we just spread them. We just put them in a thing. We just did something with them, or there's someone named Ashley, but I'd feel more comfortable with the, hey, we just did something with the ashes or with Ashley. And it feels new to me. And it's got, to me, if it is your son, and again, I'm so sorry for your loss, he just feels fun and funny and inappropriately funny a little bit. Not that he's telling me that, but it kind of feels that way. And just not shy. This guy's not, he's not shy.
Okay, so now I guess that we're gonna maybe we're gonna take the hands down because we need to have this in the chat. We need to be able to see this. So and then also we're going to let's see, Kimberly is saying yes to all of that. So Kimberly's the one whose son passed in his car, whose son played basketball, whose younger sister is Amara, who, let's see, is in construction. He was in construction, as well as, let's see, and it was a fast passing. Let's see. But so Kimberly, what about the ashes? I guess he was saying that he needs to know about the ashes, something
Or-
being done with the ashes just recently.
Or Ashley.
Or Ashley. Okay, or Ashley.
That's how it comes through. Sorry.
Yeah, same for Jeff and Nan, if you can take any of that with the
As well.
ashes or Ashley.
Kimberly is saying, I added his ashes to a ring about a month ago.
Is that separate then? Oh, that you said someone named, oh wait, who said that?
Kimberly, this is the one who,
Okay. The one with the AM sister.
Mhm.
All right, let's, about a month ago. And anything, did she say the basketball too for that one?
yes, she said he played basketball.
Okay, can you unmute Kimberly? Or is she
Mhm.
the one here in the glasses?
Yes. Hi, Kimberly. You want to unmute, please?
Oh.
There she is.
Hi.
Hi, Kimberly.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was recent enough. That's why I didn't type it in there.
Well, I understand. I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
And so you got everything, you got everything, and the AM is a younger sister.
hmm
Is this the
Yeah, they're 18 months apart.
okay? And that's today's the 18th. Just short answers if you don't mind. Have you not been to a medium before?
I have
You have, and he's come through.
every time. Very, very strong.
Interesting. This is why I might feel like I'm not well. There's someone else who'd be very much piggybacking on this, but I don't not think I have him too. But this is everything I describe about his personality spot on as well. Okay. Well then
I was laughing when you were saying what you were saying about his personality.
okay. Is there a reason why, and again, I would find it ironic if you've been to a medium multiple times that you'd not know he's okay. But there's this desperate, which the spirit usually isn't, plea to let either you or the sister or someone know, like, I'm okay. Like, stop not thinking I am. I would hope that after multiple sessions with medium, you would know he is, but I still have to pass on the message that, yeah, you need to know I'm okay. And there's an aspect of this that makes me feel like, as humans, we want them here, obviously, but there's a greater purpose to all of it. And I'm okay with what happened. And then this may be heavy because I don't know what happened, but like, I'm okay with what happened to me. I'm okay with where I am. And I just feel like a desperate need for someone to know that he's okay with it. You understand? There's a difference between whether you're okay with it, because as parents, you'd probably never really be okay with it. I hope you are eventually one day when you feel comfortable, but he's making me feel like I need you to know that I'm okay with it. Has he not displayed that to you or expressed that to you in a previous session? because it feels like he really needs you to know that like I'm okay with everything that happened, even if it was tragic or whatever, like I'm okay.
Well, no, and I had typed in earlier that one of the mediums had said, like that he sees now, like obviously certain things, and that he's working on forgiving himself now. So that doesn't kind of line up, but
Mm,
then I've
for-
had but then there's another medium, which is why I was confused, that she says that like there are no negative feelings, like they can't feel negative feelings. So that kind of confused me a little bit.
So I'm a little more with the second one, because they negative from our perspective is a lot different from what I understand. We don't know unless we're there. From their perspective, they have feelings just like we do, but they're not tainted by the human emotion and nature and nurture and things like that, right? So I would singly say, regardless of past sessions and independently right now, that he wants you to know that he's okay, and he's okay with what happened and not being physically here. Not from the perspective of him being in your life and him being in your daughter's life and all these other things, but from his individual perspective of a soul, I'm okay. I'm okay with what happened. I'm okay with not being in the physical reality and being in this bliss. And I'm okay in doing what I'm doing here. And I hope that aligns more with the medium that said that there really are no negative feelings like that over there. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Does it
That
give you peace to
did
know?
confuse me in that reading.
Okay. So it's in line with the one that says there's no negative feeling. You don't, when
Right.
you're there, it's bliss. It's, in fact, a lot of spirit has shared with me, and he's not seeing this specifically, that the best day of their lives are the day they passed away. We actually return home and it's blissful and it's freeing and light. And it's wonderful. But he's just, actually, to be honest with you, he's the kind of kid I'd hang out with. He's like a really, I don't know if he had a lot of friends, he was just outgoing, but he just feels likable to me. But he keeps doing this. And I don't know why he's doing it, but he keeps looking at his watch and looking away. So I don't know if you look at the time and see something on your watch, like his birthday or something, or like you have his watch, but he's being
But
funny
that's how we communicate through
through
numbers.
through time specifically.
Through, yeah, 1111
Okay.
and all ones, really.
Okay. So what he wants to tell you is when you see that, it's him impressing the thought on you in that moment, whether it be to look at the clock, because you'd say like, I looked at the clock, but did I look at it because he told me to, or it's all of it, right? So you thought of him because he impressed that thought on you. Then you look at the clock. Sometimes, and the other way around, he does it to mess with you, and it might be on different clocks, but it's an if and then. It's not, did I look at the clock and then see it, or did he tell me and then look at the clock? It's both. He also talks about the pennies, and when you find them, make sure you look at the years. So I don't know if you found them yet, but make sure you
Yeah.
look at the years, because the years are very specific, and he's not going to give you like a very easy year. It's like, hey, that's the year I did this, and they're going to be funny things. You find those and look at the years already?
Can I say one thing about that? Yeah. So when I'm out walking, I always ask for him to, talk to him, and if he's with me, and to leave me a sign, like every single time. And he always leaves me stuff. And one time there was a dime, and I don't know, I don't remember specifically why, but there was somebody pulling out of the driveway, so I didn't pick it up because I didn't want to stop. But the next day I was like, if that dime is, because I felt that it was for me. And I knew that if I looked at it, it would have something specific. And so anyways, the next day, long story short, it was still there. I picked it up, and I knew the year on it was going to be specific to something, and it was the year that he passed. So I knew immediately
Okay.
that it was from him.
Yeah, absolutely. So keep an eye out for that, but also keep an eye out for the pennies. They might be next if you haven't got them yet. Because usually with jewelry and coins, they're very specific. So keep an eye out for the pennies and make sure you look for the year. CA or KA, Candy, Kathy.
So his last name was Carroll, Carroll.
Oh, shoot. Is he your only son, if you don't mind me asking?
No,
Oh, okay. That's
no,
good.
I have 3 sons and a daughter.
Oh, you have 3 sons. And is that
He-
the other boy's last name too? Usually when they
Yes.
give you that and that, okay.
So to him and his older brother are with, from a previous marriage.
Oh,
and
so
my
you
daughter.
do, oh, okay, well then this may not be
So the
that.
two of them both have the same last name, and my other two children have my married name.
Okay, so this is not it. And because, then this is weird how this happens, right? If I got this C-A-K and it's a last name, it usually means something about the namesake. In this case, it's not. So now I got to backtrack and go back to the C-A and K and tell you he's not talking about his last name. There's probably a Carol, Kathy, Callie, Candace, Caleb, or C-A-K-A kind of name that he wants to bring up. To me, it feels like you have communicated with them. If it's not, you know, it could be Kevin, because I got the name Kevin earlier, but it's definitely a C or K. And the message is that you've talked to this person and you've maintained a relationship to some extent. And I'm assuming it's maybe one of his friends. Kyle, Kevin, Kathy, do you know which one he's talking about?
Not off the top of my head, but this is what happens. You know, it always happens after the reading that you think of something.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna let it. Chris, Christy, Krista, Kristen, Kyle. It's a K, or it's a K sounding. Can you give me a picture? Oh, Frazier. Why'd you give me that? Frazier. Who's the guy that? Oh, Graham. Wait, no, wait, hold on a second. What's the guy's name that plays in Frasier? Leslie? Is it, what's his name? You know the show Frasier?
Mhm.
What's his name? Is it Kelsey?
Kelsey.
Is
Kelsey
there a
Grammer.
Kelsey?
Oh,
Is there a
Kelsey.
Kelsey? Or Kelly?
I'm not sure.
Shit. It's gotta be, because I'm seeing him. I didn't even know his name. He showed me him. Kelsey. Someone with last name Kelsey?
I just have to break in here. Kim is taking everything. The other Kim and her daughter's name is Kelsey. So I just,
Oh, yeah.
she's taken everything that you've said so far, but this is pretty specific, and I hate.
Can you bring them both on? Can you leave Kim and bring? Are these both people named Kim?
So yes, so we're asking you to unmute Kim, and then I'm going to spotlight you right now. There we go.
Holy crap! So I'm sorry to
Kim, please unmute.
So can you tell? Sorry, this emotional.
Kim, you're, honey, you're not.
Yeah,
there
there you go.
Am I good?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the crazy thing was the ortho for me. Everything hit so far. I've been writing down everything that you said. The ortho, he had a tooth and we need to get him braces. And then he kept refusing to get braces and we kept taking him to the doctor and he was being a pain in the ass. And finally the dentist was like, do not put braces on this kid because he's just not gonna do what he needs to do. And 2 years later, he's dead. He didn't need him.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
The first message I gave to Kim, and I don't want to downplay the message for you, Kimberly, but this is how it works, especially for two people named Kim of all chances. And this is what your
Funny.
people are, your children are doing on this other side. Oh, that's funny. Hold on. Did you understand the first message about you needing to know that he's okay, especially with what happened?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a very emotional, when I tune into this is very, not that yours is not, Kimberly, but this is like very, very emotional. This is very, I don't want to say fresh as in new, because it could be, but and if it's not, it doesn't downplay it, but this is very fresh to me. Oh, thank you. Just slow down a second. Have you not been to a medium before? Or has he not come through a medium before?
I've been to a medium before.
Has he come through strongly or not so much?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
He's
he
come
did.
through strongly. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know why. There's a lot of energy, so just bear with me as this is very uncommon. Stop. Can you stop showing me that and get back to, hold on. So who's Kelsey? You said it was Kelsey
His
Graham.
sister.
That's
His
your
sister.
daughter?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And
So
she's the one that's struggling the most with,
Okay,
is
so
he
this-
okay?
So this probably is definitely, I mean, you could show her this. You can't, when he showed me, I got Frazier. I didn't even know what his name was, and we had to figure it out. That's how powerful his energy is. But he's a little energetic for me, which is fine. But I just have to kind of, okay. He keeps showing me this, you know how when kids are little and they have the pony that you can ride that goes back and forth, it's on like thing. He keeps showing me that and I don't know why, but he's like aggressively making me say this. Do you have a picture of him on there? And the feeling behind it is, it's a multiple fold feeling. You can validate the pony later, but there's a feeling of like, if you really, really, truly were honest with yourself, he plays me that song, The Dance by Garth Brooks, that you would not have changed anything. Or in other words, you would be going through what you're going through just to have experienced with him the love and the loss that you did with him. It's hard for someone in the pain that you have to kind of admit that, but he wants you to understand that it's better to have had the dance than to never dance at all. And he wants you to kind of what's that?
Yeah. No, I've used that song before.
And then why is he and then the pony thing is you usually okay, so he's strong then, because oh, so you're doing like a rocking chair. Okay, don't tell me why, but do you know yes or no why he'd be showing me that pony?
Hmm.
Okay. When I get the impression and feeling, and I want to thank your son because he may give me a new symbol. My mom always says, worrying is like a rocking chair. You know, you just go back and forth and you don't get anywhere, right? So I wonder if he's showing me that for that, but there's a pony or a horse related to it. And his point is like, hey, you know what? We did it, but now don't worry, I'm okay. And I want you to just enjoy and have fun on the ride while you're there. And don't worry, because you're not really going to get anywhere if you worry. That's the kind of feeling I get from his impression. And then just like Kimberly has a ring, there's also a ring with you as well. So let's do this. Why is he showing me that pony? And does that make sense?
Because that is the quote that I share with all my friends about worry.
Oh, the rocking chair one? But why is it a pony? Because that was very specific. Why would he show me that?
Well, it's because when he was smaller, he had like a little wooden rocking horse.
Okay. And you remember that?
Hmm.
He's making me say to you, don't forget about all the good memories, Ma. Would you have traded that for how you feel now? And it's hard through the filter of how you feel, but I wouldn't have traded it. I don't want you to want to feel that either. He shows me, is that Yahtzee or is it roulette? He's showing me dice, but usually it comes through differently. So did someone play the roulette or play the Yahtzee or, take a risk? Is that you, him, both? Is it Yahtzee, roulette? The feeling is actually both. So it's probably two things. One of them is very heavy. Maybe he made a tough choice. Usually the rolling of the dice is a risk, and it feels like maybe he took a risk. But then also,
accidental overdose with fentanyl.
so took a chance.
He took a chance. Yeah.
But then also someone must play roulette, or there's a Yahtzee memory or something about rolling. Do you know what that is?
We have the game Yahtzee.
Do you play it a lot? Because usually they don't. I mean, who never played Yahtzee? But is it like a one you go to?
No, like we play it.
A lot. Okay, all right.
I literally can take both of those things too.
Okay, perfect.
I love it.
Yeah. And then why are you showing me that? Whoever it is, or both of them are showing me. Pin the tail on the donkey. Oh, is this another horse reference? Where do the horses come in? Pin the tail on the donkey or horses, or is that a game? Either pin the tail, or does there someone have a horse or something?
We had a horse in our neighborhood that he hung out with.
Okay. And then there's another. Is there a Chris for you? Kim, just Kim, not Kimberly. Is there a Chris?
There's a woman. That's the woman that found him dead.
He wants. Ooh. He wants me to ask you a favor. Really heavy. I apologize, but I have to honor him. Are you okay for me to share this with you?
Yeah.
He wants you to stop blaming people for his passing. And that includes yourself and actually some others, because you or they don't deserve it. He's taking full responsibility. Do you understand that? Does that give you some?
Yeah.
Because my goal in sharing these messages from them is to give you peace. So if it stings in the beginning, but then it brings you peace to allow you to have that forgiveness. And I got this on purpose, because this has come up so much in my sessions about forgiving people, because when we don't forgive and we hold grudges for others, that's like taking poison and wanting someone else to die. And I'm not human to human. I sympathize, empathize, compassion in every way I possibly can, but I can't. but I would tell you his soul wants you to not have yourself go through that, because it's no one else's fault but mine. But he also makes me say that don't forget, God or the universe or something bigger has a greater part to do with this whole thing. There's no mistakes. It's not like, the human wise, I messed up, but from the soul perspective, you can't mess up outside of destiny. So when he's so strong and very matter of fact. I don't know which one or both of your sons, which was like that, but he's kind of I don't want to say aggressive in a mean way, but he's kind of like, tell her this, tell her what I'm saying, and you don't need to filter it through your kind of emotional sensitivity, Dan. Like, tell her what I'm saying. And I don't think he's being mean, but he's being very straightforward. But he says, tell her what you know. And what you've come to understand is that there's no mistakes in the universe. God doesn't mess up. Now, the human side of us wants to fight that. Why would this happen? Why in the heck would that happen? But nothing can happen. We have free will, but nothing can happen outside the soul's true desire. And the soul's desire is often different than the human desire. The human desire is, I want my kids to outlive me, and I want this and this and this, and just a decent life and not have to feel pain and all the things we all want. But from the soul perspective, we choose to go through some of these difficult times so that we can choose those higher vibrations of thoughts and love and forgiveness. Now he's going to start getting funny because he wants you to start laughing. Why? That's a very interesting thing to bring humor, but I'll say it. Oh, you are creative. Did he ever say what's your dash, or like, how someone lives like 1987 to 19 whatever, and then they say what's your dash? So first he brought me, it's like, I want to make her laugh, and then he showed me a grave, and then he showed me two parts of the grave. One was in one wasn't. So I don't know if he's buried next to someone who's not passed yet or whatever it is, but then he's talking about the dash, and it's not done yet. So I don't know if you're going to be very near him or if someone's next to him, whatever, or maybe his sister or whatever, but there's a feeling of like, I don't want you to miss out on your dash just because I chose to, cut my dash short from your perspective, but my dash is complete. Yours isn't yet. So I don't want you, doing your dash and not enjoying as much as you can with the given parameters. Do you understand why he would say that, or specifically why I mentioned the dash or the grave, the side by side? Yeah. But there's got to be a bit of humor to it, because he's trying to get you to laugh. I know it sounds, maybe he's like that, but
he is like that.
Do you understand where he's going with that, or what the dash is?
Yeah.
This may be for you too as well, Kim. Did which your son played basketball, Kim?
Yeah.
He doesn't want you to go through the shoulda, woulda, couldas. Like, if you went to 8 games but you didn't go to 10 and you missed 2, it's okay. You were at them, or you did this. You did more. You have to go easy on yourself when it comes to the things you coulda, shoulda, and done differently, because you did the best you can with what you were given. And he's almost kind of laughing, saying, and I wasn't the easy. It wasn't like it was easy for, he says. You understand? And then he shows me the birthday cap, and he takes the string and he pulls it, and it flicks his chin. Did he do that, or did someone do that recently? Or, I mean, I haven't seen one of those in years, but is that not called a dunce cap, is it?
His niece that he hasn't met just had her 1-year birthday, and she had the little birthday hat on.
So it's funny because I usually they show me a different symbol for birthday, but and she had the chin thing with the thing I haven't seen in years. Yeah. Okay. Is that Kelsey's child?
No, it's his. When you said CA, his brother is Carter. It's his daughter.
Okay, so Kimberly, don't not think that this is your person too, but I think that's that feeling in the beginning where I was a little confused. Now we know but for 2 people named Kim, but this is definitely your person coming in too. But I think you really need this right now, Kim. Not that you don't any less, Kimberly, but Kim, like, you're highlighted, spotted. This is slow down. Okay, so the birthday, oh my gosh, he's so I don't want to say aggressive because it doesn't sound nice, but he's very matter of fact.
Aggressive. He's aggressive, okay, matter of fact.
Okay, yes. He's almost kind of, I don't mean this in a mean way, he's kind of bullying me, but not in a mean way. He's just kind of like, listen, you say this, don't filter your emotional like baloney and just tell her what I'm saying without putting your, saying like without putting your little sissy emotional stuff on it. So not in a mean way, but he's like kind of being very forward with me, very kind of manly. No offense to the men in here, but what were you saying? So 15, and how do you connect the 15?
That was the last day I saw him.
Oh,
Yeah. And when you said ducks, it's funny because his high school was the Hawks, but they called them the duck farmers.
what, really?
And it was just like, it's just like, it's when you started saying it and like, I was just like, wow. And he actually, he got the girl came to the house to give him the drugs and she put the needle in his arm and then he went, so he was in the car when he was taking the drug and then he went inside and he passed away. And then you gave me the name of the woman, the mother that found him, that he lived with.
Here tonight we gave the name of the mom.
Yeah, Chris.
Okay. The reason why he wants you to come on here tonight is to remind you that to go easy on yourself. You're a great mom, and now you don't give yourself enough credit for that, and you beat yourself up over that a lot. I mean, that's what he's telling me. I don't, obviously only you would know that, and he would know that, but he doesn't want you to do that anymore because you don't deserve that. There's really this, when it comes to the human terms, it's not anyone else's fault, not even the girl. Oh yeah, who's the math teacher? Thank you.
The math teacher. It could be the one that kind of bullied him in high school.
Be more. So do you know a math teacher that he knows?
Mm-hmm.
Would you also have a forgiveness opportunity for that person too?
Ooh, now we're really going back because I really hated that woman.
I think he's going with the same theme, just like someone who bullied me or stabbed me or hurt me or whatever. There's no need for you to take on that. And I really do find it interesting. And I don't know if I said it before or after you said it, but that we said lack of forgiveness is like taking poison and making someone else die. I don't know. I think I said that before you told me how he passed. I'm assuming, I don't know. But if he made me say that, that credit goes to him about being more specific on his passing and how he wants you to choose forgiveness. There's no need for you, even though you love me, to be angry or even at her or at the math teacher or at anyone or at yourself. It was and he's being very aggressive. This is my life. It was my choice. I put up with that. I chose that, even though you don't understand what that means, he says, as much, and you're kind of understanding a little bit more. You don't need to take that on. And yes, humanly as a parent, we, you obviously have your role, but he's making me feel like you need to be reminded of the good times. And he shows me KFC. So did you have a KFC or fried chicken thing or KFC experience he wants you to smile about?
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah, he was the fast food junkie in the house.
Did he like I'm just because I'm been doing it a while. Was there something with KFC? Because they're usually very specific with certain things. Do you remember that? And if not, I would tell Kelsey or the CA to remember KFC. There's a big thank you. And I don't know if this makes sense for putting up with him in some ways. I don't know. I'm not saying he was a bad kid, but he's saying thanks for like putting up with me. I don't know what you understand what he means by that? Not in a mean way, but
he was horribly hard kid.
Okay.
I mean, I loved him, but I have 4 kids and he was insanely hard from the time he was little.
This is his joke, not mine, so don't be mad at me, but he's saying the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So there may be something with apples or he's making fun of you or your husband. So you can
his father, yes.
Forgiveness as well there too. Okay. So this is, and again, I wrote a chapter in my first book or second, I'm not sure which one, about forgiveness. That was the first one, and maybe go through it. And I know you weren't looking. I don't know if you saw this, but like I put this on here on my arm. I don't know if you saw it, Kim, to kind of share with people how important forgiveness is. And this bad boy hurt. But it really talks about when Jesus was like crucified and he was literally like, according to scripture, was like, hey, I forgive them as they're literally killing me and hurting me. So I always say, as a human being, if we can forgive someone for anything less than literally killing ourselves, and in this case, the extreme, we can hopefully eventually get to the point where we can live our dash with more love and recognizing there's a bigger plan. And what I've come to understand is there's nothing that happens in the soul's reality, even in yours and in his, that's outside of the possibility or desire of what the soul truly wants. And when you realize there's an expanded universe beyond this dream, you realize that death is not a thing. It's just a human experience we go through. And most spirit tells me, you ever had a bad dream and you wake up from it? It's very similar. When we get to the non-physical and we shed the body, we're home and we're happy, and all of our loved ones are there, including he will be. And then either there's someone named Pete, or you planted something for him. And I know it's January, but he gives me the same symbol, or maybe there's both. Pete Moss. But is there someone named Pete?
Mm,
Did you bury something for him or plant something?
I don't think so.
No, this is for you. Why are you showing under the grass? Under the turf.
It could have been one of his siblings.
You ever seen the movie Beetlejuice?
Yeah.
You know how when they have the little model and Michael Keaton comes out and he's got you can pull the grass up. It's something about that. It could be with marijuana, because I know that
Wow.
dirty hands and things like that have to do with that. So it could be something, maybe someone's growing weed, which would be the way he's showing me, or something. But it is that, because he showed me the Dr. Dre album, The Chronic. So I don't know if someone's smoking, but they have to, whoever it is has to be careful.
Yeah, that's Kelsey.
Okay, so be careful, because even though it's legal in some places, there's a very fine line still, actually. He's making me feel like, and if they're not careful, there's certain close numbers or things that could get you in trouble. So make sure you tell him or her that they got to be careful with that.
Well, he has a big sense of humor because he was arrested with enough pot in the back that he got a felony.
You're the one we're channeling, or
yes, the one that we channeled.
okay, so then don't do what I would say. Then in that case, don't do what.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there is a big rehashing about making sure that we forgive Dad too, in whatever role you think he may have played, and that, and or any other situation in your life, especially with the other kids too.
He's working on me tonight. He's working on me. I said, he's working on me tonight.
Got to be more specific here.
Yeah.
He's a chiropractor?
Yeah, no, he's working on me on the forgiveness.
Oh, okay. I thought you like your husband. Yeah. I thought it was like your husband.
No. It's like the people that he's calling out are the people that I have not forgiven.
Because he knows how important it is for you, not for him. Although of course it will be a little bit for him, but for you. Yeah. And I think maybe that's why he made me say that analogy.
Yeah.
And then Brittany or Brenda or Brian.
Brittany.
Who's that?
One of his friends.
But is she one of the good ones? I hope.
She's one of the better ones.
Okay, so tell her he said hi.
Okay.
He's almost making me feel like it's not someone you wouldn't feel uncomfortable reaching out to.
Yeah.
And he wants to thank her for being his cheerleader. So she either may literally be a cheerleader, or she may keep his spirit alive, or root him on, or helped him here in the physical world. So make sure you thank him for that. He also wants me to share with you, and this is very important, that his passing was no different than, I've never heard a spirit say that before. It was no different than going under anesthesia for him. He didn't feel any pain. He didn't remember much of it until he got there. So even though it may have looked different from your end, the passing was very quick and peaceful. And he quickly, according to our time, because there's no time on the other side, but was very okay with it, and was ready to move on to the next thing. In fact, more of his feeling was like, are you sharing that with me? Uncle H? Is there an H? Harry, Henry, Harold, Heather, Keith, Hector?
H.
I think it might be an uncle. Well, check your family tree. There's a Henry. I feel like it's a male. It may be an older uncle, great uncle, Henry, Heath, Hector. Maybe it's someone you know. There's a feeling of like someone was there for him. I'm assuming it's an HE name. Or maybe there's someone HE that's here and they know who it was. But anyway, but there was a quick feeling of like, hey, you know, I don't want them to feel I'm okay, but I don't want them to feel bad. And then there was a sense of peace that came over him of how your lives would continue, and that you would, you know, eventually come to an understanding, and maybe not acceptance totally, but an understanding that this was for a bigger plan, and you'd start to see the blessings and realize that your time with him is not done, and that you guys will be together again. I can't guarantee it, but I can almost anything but, right?
Well,
Uh,
it's going to be interesting. I'll have to let you know. He would have been an uncle for the first one I told you that just had the birthday, the 1-year-old, and he would have been an uncle to a little boy in June. And I think Henry is one of the names that's in the running because it's my son Carter's middle name.
Oh, well, then don't say anything and just see if it happens.
I'm not going to say anything because
That would be
they don't want to tell us, but it's like,
so that would be so cool.
yeah,
Because I would say, like, in human terms,
because you're
that's so
saying like life goes on and blah, blah,
come
blah.
back
And then
and
you
yeah.
said uncle, which he would have been.
Yeah.
And if it turns out Henry ends up being like middle or first name to my son, because my son's middle name is Henry.
Dude, that's crazy. He keeps showing me the number 70. Really weird number. I don't think I've ever gotten 70, but is it 1970 or someone who's 70 years old?
No, he said he only was going to live to be 70.
But why?
And I don't know, because like when he was 12 and he would talk about, I would be like, our family lives to be 106, 98, 95. And he would always say, I'd be fine if I lived to 70.
No
And I
way.
said, no. I go, you'll live way beyond 70. But it was always a number that he would pin.
70. Well, to
70.
me, the way that's crazy. And he's so powerful and accurate. I want to make sure he gets all that credit. But to me, that's like his confirmation, like, then I'm only going to honor his spirit, but like, haha, I told you. And
Exactly.
I'm so sorry, but I have to honor him.
Yeah.
Like, and again, well, oh my gosh, he plays me that song. It's my life. Na, 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 na,
And
na.
yeah, I'm not going to live forever.
Oh, is that what the lyrics of that song are?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think he's being
He loved music. Yeah. He was just like, nah, like I'm going to do this, do that, smoke, do what I want to do. Like, it's not about living to being 106. It's about having a good time.
yeah,
And he was like 12 when he was saying this. And I'm like, slow your roll, dude. Like, we
Right.
have longevity in our family.
right, like quality over quantity. But he's kind of saying like, and I'm just going to honor him. And this is not because I'm insensitive, but he's like, I told you so. Told you, Mom. This was part of the plan, whether you like it or not. But I still love you. And he's like, I still love you. Are you getting a tattoo on your arm for him?
My kids have tattoos for him.
Okay. Is it on the arm? I'm just wondering.
Mhm.
Okay.
It's on
Are
the
you?
arm.
He's kind of being funny. Like, what are you waiting for?
I know, because they're pushing me. I'm like, I don't think I want anything on my body for the rest of my life. Yeah. He was funny, because I'll just tell you this briefly. When he was 12 and we were having this deep discussion, I had actually just come from a funeral. He said, at my funeral, there's going to be no crying. And I was like, you do know you're going to be dead. So if people want to cry, they're going to cry. He said, no, I'm going to have bouncers at my funeral. So if you start crying, like, you're
Gonna
gone.
kick you out.
'Cause it should be celebration. And then one time he just told me, I was like, wear your seatbelt. Don't do this. Don't do that. He goes, Mom, I can be going down the highway 100 miles an hour with a blindfold on. If it's not my time to go, I'm not going to go. I could be walking down the sidewalk. If it's my time to go, car will jump on. It'll kill me. And it's kind of scary. Like, when you hear your kid just talk about this, because you don't know like what's coming first. Like, is it his behaviors that are driving him to say, hey, I know my behaviors aren't safe, but this was really before he was even doing anything that was dangerous. It was just a belief, like, when it's your time to go, it's your time to go.
It was not a self-fulfilling prophecy. I don't believe in that. But I'll tell you this, and I'm by no means know it all, but I've had thousands of sessions, read hundreds of books, Bible back and forth, studied different religions, and he's spot on. When it's your time to go, there's nothing you can do about it. And that doesn't mean we miss them less, but I've noticed over time it gives people a sense of peace that, like, hey, this was just part of my experience. I can't stand it. I don't like it. I missed the shit out of him, but it was his time. It doesn't make it any easier from the perspective of missing him, but it does hopefully take a little bit of the strain of like shoulda, woulda, coulda, because there's really nothing we can do to change some of those things. And when we realize that, we can live our dash with the best way we can and know that we're going to be with him again. There's ample amounts of anecdotal evidence that talks about near-death experiences and life after death. And to put it simply, there's something more, and it's bigger and beautiful than we can ever imagine. And our loved ones are all part of it. And when we transition home and get back there, I'm sure he'll be one of the first ones with open arms.
And then
And
he'll say, told you, Mom, told you were going to see me again. Remember
Yeah.
when Daniel told you that?
And then on to the next thing. It'll be on to the next and on to the next forever and ever. It's just the way it goes. Just keep listening to the music. He's going to be playing you songs, and get your chimney fixed. He keeps talking about your chimney. Do you maybe know if you have one, but make sure you
I
check
do
it
have
out.
one. Okay.
Maybe get an inspected. Have you not gotten inspected in a while? Yeah, just get an inspection on the chimney.
All right.
Okay. Hey, thank you for letting me. I hope bring your son through. I hope this gave you some sort of peace tonight.
Thank you, Daniel.
You're welcome.
Gosh,
Amazing.
this was amazing. And Kim, please, and Kimberly, please, 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 if you can, write a validation story for Daniel so that he can have that. I just love being able to have other parents know about these experiences. So my email is elizabeth@helpingparentsheal.org, which is pretty easy to remember. And it's just so wonderful because if you could put a picture of your son, could you tell us what your son's name is then?
Zachary.
Zachary. And Kimberly,
Yeah.
what's your son's name?
Tyler.
Tyler. So Zachary Henry, right? And Tyler. For if both of you could send me something for the newsletter, I would truly appreciate it. I just think it would be so wonderful. This has been one of the most amazing experiences that I've ever had during a reading.
Yeah. This was something to witness, Daniel. Really, it was incredible.
I think there was something for everyone in this, and I just am so grateful that I was a part of it. Thank you so much, Daniel, for bringing Zachary and Tyler through to us to be able to experience their incredible personalities. Oh my goodness, you guys must be so proud of your kids. And again, remember, there was lots of piggybacking. So this was not just for Kim and Kimberly, it was for all of us. And Daniel, do you have any closing words you'd like to say? We're kind of running over, but if you have anything that you'd like to leave us with, we'd love to hear it.
I just got a Bible verse, but it makes no sense. No, you guys, we can go, but if I want to open up to questions, because I know it was a lot of information and I talk fast, but if anyone has any questions on the process or anything, feel free to ask if you want before we go. I don't mind.
It's amazing. So does anyone have any questions? I know people are jumping off because they kind of expect it to end at on the hour, but at the same time, if anyone has a question, I just think that this whole thing about all of the numbers that you brought through, the 70 that you brought through, as well as his sister's name, Kelsey. You didn't even know what that name was, and people were writing it in the chat box, so I had to say it. I mean, you were very, very specific tonight, and I think that that's one thing. Plus the fact that you were saying that if anything, the most important thing that you've learned on this journey of mediumship is that when it's our time, it's our time. And I think that that's very reassuring. So let's see.
But really quick, Danny says, is there a time when they pass to when you can connect with them? As weird as this sounds, I've actually channeled people who are still alive. It happens when they're in comas when they don't have a relationship with a person, or if they aren't really good communicators. I also have a story in this book called Journey Through Many Mansions, where a woman booked an appointment with me 8 months in advance. She died the same day of her appointment and then came through for her family on an appointment that she booked the same night. So yeah, it's all in the story. You read the story, it's in chapter 17, and it's unbelievable. So yeah, there's no time. There's really no time on the other side. So yeah, I've channeled souls alive and people that pass the same day. And then sometimes 30, 40, 50 years later.
That's amazing. So I see Gertie saying that if you can answer Heidi's question, Daniel, my mother dreamed that my son came to her door with someone else and they were looking for something. She said he looked healthy, but he did not recognize her and did not speak. The other person did all the talking. She tried to catch his eye to speak with him, but could not. Is this possible? Do our children eventually move on? I'm pretty sure that your answer is going to be no, but I hear what you have to say about
Try
that.
to catch his eye. Yeah, and this was a dream. Yeah, dreams we have to be really careful with. I kind of wish I was like Daniel in the Old Testament, who was like a dream interpreter, but I'm not. I don't have that gift. But what I tell people is be very careful with dreams. I do say this, and this is not just to be all, fitting, but when we dream of our loved ones in a loving, wonderful, vivid expression, lucidly, it's them visiting. When we have experiences in dreams where they don't feel good, or they're scary, or they're not just good, a lot of times it's our heart healing and our auras and chakras balancing, and they're usually human issues and emotions that are being healed at those times. So and that's just, I'm not saying that again just to feel good. I really do believe that. So we have to be careful with dreams, but you'll have certain mediums say, oh, they're stuck, or all these things like that. I don't believe that, only because I've never experienced that. I'd be ignorant to say it's not possible, because if I haven't experienced it, someone else could have. But from my experience, here's what I've come to understand. We're all watching a movie in the theater, which is our life, and we're the director, the actor, and writer, and all of our loved ones living in past are in the theater, all next to us, right with us, watching us. Think of the Matrix, right? We're plugged in right now. And then when we die, we unplug and we go back home, and that must be some blissful, utopic, amazing place, which we're there. We just don't realize it because we're in the dream. And so I feel like when our consciousness leaves our reality, or we wake up, you see it in Ephesians 5:14, we wake up and we realize that we never really left heaven. It's like The Alchemist, if anyone's ever read The Alchemist, but it's all right here. The kingdom of God's within you. So there's no here or there. That's why you see present is not only present, but it's called the present because it's a gift. It's now, and it's really the only moment. Now, humanly, you think we had yesterday and the day before, and there's a future, but really all things happening are happening now, literally, because human is a time construct. So I don't think there's a here or there. There's just nowhere, but also here. And so nowhere is now here. If you break down the word nowhere, it's now here. So it's a dichotomy. It's a divine dichotomy, right? So we have everything and nothing, and then here and there and everywhere, but there's nowhere, and it's now here, and it's here, but not there. So it's when you start thinking outside the human mind and illogically, that's when you start to recognize that some of these human restrictions on trying to understand the divine are very, very, very limited. So the best way to put it in human terms is there's only one moment, there's only one place, and that's here and now.
Beautiful. I guess the last question here that we have is from Megan saying, can you give us any tips to connect with our children? Thank you.
Sorry for your losses. The best way is to be open, to have an open heart, open mind. Pray to them, ask them. I say prayer is nothing more than a positive thought with an intention. Speak to them because they do hear you. I can't guarantee it, but I can all but do that. They hear you. They're with you. They're experiencing your experience. They're in the movie theater watching you and rooting you on, and they're just a thought away. And so when you pay attention, you put in, Matthew 7:7, right? So you ask and you shall receive. So put it out there. And just be patient and wait. And when the time comes, whether it's tomorrow or next week or next year, whenever it may be, you will get it. It's in songs. It's in pennies or dimes. It's in animals. You might hear their voice. Some parents I've heard actually will feel things on their ear, or sometimes they'll see an impression in their peripheral. But every spirit is different and communicates differently. So just asking and then being open and then trusting. And most importantly, the last thing is trusting that when you do get that impression or feeling, trust it. It is them. You're not going to see them usually standing in front of you, talking to you, even here, like her son showed me a picture of Frazier. And that's all I knew him as. I didn't know it took me forever to forget his name. But when he impressed that on me, he was wanting me to say his sister's name. And so when you get to understand that that's how spirit communicates, then you can start to pick up on those impressions as well. And the last thing is to do all the right things. I tell people, live life responsibly. If you have a beer, don't have 10, have one, enjoy it. But then that's it. All these fruits of the earth, the more we do the right thing and the good thing and the proper thing that we all innately know to do, the better we can tune our vibration into spirit and be more open and willing and ready and able to receive messages from them.
That is beautiful. And raise our vibrations so that we can meet theirs. Their vibrations have to come down and ours go up. And what an incredible evening, Daniel. I am just so grateful for this. I know Irene is as well. And
Yeah.
I know that all of the parents who are still on here are also very appreciative. We always ask everyone to unmute and say thank you and good evening to you. Thank you for leaving your kids to come and be with us. We appreciate that so much.
Yes. Such
And
a sacred evening, Daniel. Thank you. Beautiful.
So have a wonderful evening. If everybody wants to unmute and say goodbye, you're welcome to do so.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Daniel.
That was awesome. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening and get your kids to bed. Take care.
Hey,
Bye, everyone.
Good night, everybody.